So cut all the preamble before. Let's just get right to the news of the day, the trades. The long-rumored and long-speculated Trevor Zegras of the Philadelphia Flyers actually happened today. It gets to a certain point where you wonder, okay, they've talked about it for so long, it's probably not going to happen, right? And the best example that I can remember from recent note is, and people in the chat will correct me on this right away with, well, no, there was this other one here too. But how many times did you hear, oh, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins going to Minnesota for Matt Dumba? How many times? I'll be honest, like you heard that, we all did. And, you know, at times those discussions actually did happen, but it never happened. And then how many times have you heard, oh, yeah, and especially after the Jamie Drysdale move, Drysdale and Zegras are quite close. And of course, former teammates and buddies. Oh, yeah, like Zegras is going to the Philadelphia Flyers. And you heard it so many times that you thought, okay, A, it's going to happen. And then B, after a while, you say to yourself, well, if it hasn't happened now, it's probably not going to happen. And today it happened. So Trevor Zegras becomes a member of the Philadelphia Flyers. A couple of things there in a couple of seconds. So he goes to the Flyers. Ryan Poehling goes the other way along with a second and a fourth round pick. Now, a couple of things here. I want to get to Zegras in a second and where this helps the Philadelphia Flyers specifically. More on this coming up with Dave Pagnotta, the fourth period. We'll talk about all the rumors that are happening around the NHL, all the things that we wonder could happen here over the next little while leading up to July 1st, free agent day. So the one thing that I wonder about initially, as soon as I saw the news of the deal this afternoon, was, okay, so what does this set up then for the Anaheim Ducks? Like we did wonder about the left side when the deal was made for Chris Kreider. So you have Cutter Gauthier, now you have Chris Kreider. Now what's happening? All of a sudden you're pushing down Trevor Zegras even further here. Something may have to give. And it did, but now you wonder, what does this set up for the Anaheim Ducks, who have a lot of cap space and a general manager who is motivated to use it? And could it be something big? And could it involve a team that wears green? I'll just lob it out there. For the Philadelphia Flyers, where this helps right away is the power play. And listen, not exactly a secret that the Philadelphia Flyers struggled on their power play this year. You can make the argument that they didn't have anyone on the half wall to use with enough skill to make a power play sing. You would think that one of the prime motivators here for Daniel Briere in bringing in Trevor Zegras is to help that power play. I know they used Mitchkov there at times. Rookie season, somewhat of a language issue at times, language barrier, if you will. Nonetheless, I kind of feel like one of the things that I got right away was a text from someone saying, well, we've heard about this one for a long time. Was the obstacle there always John Tortorella? Was John Tortorella, because, Zegras can't be a Tortorella guy. Like he's like a blisters on your knuckles kind of dude. He's a rough and tumble guy. I don't think that John Tortorella would have been in a position to say no or would try to block a trade that Briere wanted to make in the first place. Or secondly, I don't think for 1 second that John Tortorella or Rocky Thompson, for that matter, who handled the power play, would have said no or pushed back if discussions revolved around bringing in Trevor Zegras. First thing, Philly needed help with the power play. Second thing, the one thing that we do know about John Tortorella, and the nice thing about him being in the league as long as he has been, we've learned a lot about John Tortorella. And John Tortorella loves molding players like that. Loves taking a guy, like he's really excels at this, like taking a guy that everybody has their mind made up on and then molding him into a different player. Now, there are certain tests that come along with that along the way that sometimes are uncomfortable, but I don't think for 1 second that John Tortorella would have had anything to do with Trevor Zegras not becoming a Philadelphia Flyer earlier. I'm of the belief that John Tortorella probably would have said, yeah, give me some of that Trevor Zegras right here with the team in orange, going from one orange team to another, essentially. Okay, coming up on the program today, Daily Outline powered by FanDuel. our good friends there, make every moment more with North America's #1 sports book, and that is FanDuel. We have a lot to get to today, and we have a very special guest we're going to get to almost right away. Mason Marchment stops by of the Seattle Kraken. Dave Pagnotta, I mentioned, of the fourth period. We'll go over the trades and all the speculation and the rumors and things that are flying around and free agency. And, oh, yeah, it's draft week. So you better get used to people lying to you because it's draft week and everybody lies to you the week leading up to the NHL draft. So we're going to go over all of this with Dave Pagnotta here in a couple of moments. In the meantime, we want to welcome aboard our first guest, someone we tried to get on last week. It was really busy, but he's made time for us today, and we appreciate it. Pleased to be joined by Mason Marchment of the Seattle Kraken, newly acquired from the Dallas Stars last week. Mason Marchment joins me now. Mason, it's Jeff here. How are you? Thanks so much for dropping by. And nice Raptors hat, by the way.
Thank you. I have to support the Raptors.
I understand that. First of all, some of the obvious stuff I want to get out of the way early, and then there's a couple of things I want to drill down on. And my producer has a beer league story involving you and him that he wants to get to. And I loved your punchline, so I'm like, Zach, you have to tell it on the air. First of all, the trade. Were you surprised? Were you caught off guard at all?
Not really caught off guard. I mean, I knew Dallas was up against the cap situation, and there was definitely guys that had to be moved. And just hearing that there was a lot of chatter of my name and stuff like that, I wasn't really too surprised. But obviously, it sucks to leave a group like that. After 3 deep runs, and after having the group that we did there, it's a lot of good guys and good characters, and it's going to be tough to leave those kind of guys. But I'm definitely excited to join Seattle and get a good opportunity and hopefully take advantage of it.
A couple of quick things on Dallas as well. I know previous when the decision was between Dallas or the Carolina Hurricanes, I know that your association and your feelings for Steve Spott kind of put that one over the top for you. You mentioned it's going to be tough leaving that group. Spotter now goes to the Boston Bruins, so it's the nature of hockey. Players go everywhere, but when you look back on, and coaches go everywhere. When you look at your time with the Dallas Stars, like what's going to come to mind right away? I mean, wildly successful. First of all, not the ultimate prize, but like consistently good year in and year out.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just what it comes down to. I think, we had such a good group for 3 years straight. There was guys kind of plucked in and out of there, but for 3 years we were, a pretty big horse in the league, and hard to play against every night. And I think that's the biggest thing. They got a lot of good pieces there. They got a great goaltender. They got solid D men. They have. Sorry, just gonna let my dog in here.
What kind
Too
of dog
hot
you
for
have?
him.
What kind of dog you got?
I got a golden retriever. I don't know if you can
That's
see him.
oh, look at that.
Gonna go get some water.
It's a little bit blistering and
Yeah,
it's a little bit warm.
yeah.
Oh, that's great.
A little
Great
hot
dog.
for him out here.
What's the dog's name?
Milo.
Did you ever think of like a hockey name? Like Wendell Bark is always a favorite. Do you think of like Gordy? Do you ever think of a hockey name before you named him or her?
No, it was terms with, so it was good though. He's been great. He's 5 now, so he's getting a little older.
We're gonna get you to reconnect. You're kind of frozen right now. We can get back on the 5-year-old. Oh, there we go. We got you back. We don't have you back. We're gonna get you back. There we go. We got you back. Yeah, you're good. You're good. You're good. Whatever works for you works for us. There we go. We got you.
That's good.
Let me ask you about Jim Nill, and then I want to get on the Seattle page. Jim Nill has a very, very specific reputation of when he does move players, he moves them to places where they're going to thrive and they're going to have success. Did you feel that way as you were talking through all of this with your former general manager?
Yeah, I mean, we had a really good conversation, and obviously he said, I don't want to move you, but it's the business, and I completely understand that. So,
Yeah.
but he is, if not the best, one of the best
Yep.
people in hockey. He's just so classy and treats everyone with respect, and he's upfront about everything, and as a player, that's all you can really ask for. So I have nothing but respect for all the GM and assistant GM and all those guys over there in Dallas.
Hmm.
Nothing but respect for those guys. They treated me so well while I was there, and um, you know, it sucks. I got to move on, but I wish those guys nothing but the best.
It's a classy operation from top to bottom, from ownership all the way down.
For sure.
One of the things that I was told right away when this trade happened, I said, look, someone said to me, this is Jim Nill and his reputation. Like he's making a trade with Mason Marchment, and he's sending him from one tax-free state to another tax-free state. There's been a lot of conversation about this, right? Especially as Florida continues to excel, et cetera, Tampa and no tax states. How much of an issue is, Brandon Montour was on Morning Cup of Hockey last week, and he said, once you check off a lot of other boxes, it does matter. When you found out that it was going to be Seattle, did you look at this and you said, like, you know what, this is Jim Nill doing me a solid here, that essentially I'm going to go somewhere where I don't have to take a state tax pay cut?
Yeah, I don't even, I don't think of it that way. I'm sure some guys would, but for me, I think, Jim did a good job of placing me in a place where, maybe they're going to give me a good opportunity to play and
Mm-hmm.
maybe get a couple more minutes here and there. But, I think that's more the way I look at it. Jim knows I love to play the game and I'm a competitive guy, and that stuff takes care of itself. So for me, I'm not really, it's a nice perk, but I'm not really, worried about that.
I was gonna say, like, one of the things, because we're fascinated with it here in the media, that it takes state taxes, and I wonder, like, how many for a hockey player, Mason, like, how many boxes do you have to check off first until you get to the, oh yeah, and then there's a state tax issue, like competitive team, facilities, family, all those things.
Yeah,
Like how
facilities,
how far
fans.
along does it go?
I think for a lot of guys, I mean, especially myself, we're gonna have a baby here soon. So just for my
Nice,
family, I just want
congrats.
to put my family in a good spot and make sure they're comfortable. I mean, for me, that would be a big thing. And
Mm-hmm.
then obviously the team, where the team's at, what direction they're headed in, and stuff like that. And then I think it's definitely a check mark you got to box off, but
Yep.
I think guys really want to win more than anything.
Let me ask you about Seattle. You go to a team where, one player, Brandon Montour, from your time together with the Florida Panthers. Anybody else like that sort of acts as a magnet here? Anyone else you know well in that room?
Not too many guys too well. I know Vince Dunn a little bit, Jared McCann a little bit here and there from skates. Um, I've skated with Shane Wright a little bit. Um, I know Mahura from the Florida days. He wasn't
Oh
there when
yeah,
I was
Josh
there,
Mahura.
but
Yeah.
just through some of the guys. But and then the big rig. I've known the big rig for a little bit. We skate together in the summer. Um,
Yeah.
but other than that, I think that's it. So, but it'll be fun. It'll be a good experience and fresh start, and I'm excited.
What was your experience playing against Seattle? Like, what were your takeaways from playing against them now that you're with them?
Hey, no one's here. Um, my reactions were good. I mean, their rink is top
Oh
notch,
yeah. Oh yeah.
and from what I've heard from the guys that play there, they get treated really well, and
Yep.
that's awesome. That's a huge part of it, and but their fans are awesome. I mean, we played them. I think it was their first or second year in the league. We played them in the playoffs in the second round, and their fans were electric, and
Mm-hmm.
they have a really good team. It's tough that they didn't make playoffs last year, but if you go down their roster, a lot of good players and capable of definitely making a push for sure.
Have you had? I'm sure you've had at least one conversation with Jason Botterill. He give you sort of any idea of where this team is headed? We saw the Burakovsky Veleno deal over the weekend. Like they're one of those sneaky teams. Although it's not sneaky, they made two very public trades. Sneaky teams. Do we expect to do something big this summer? Any has he shared with you anything about? Hey, we got things coming here, Mason. We got things coming.
Oh, that's you might want to call Montour for that. He's the inside scoop. But no, I don't know anything about anything that's going on. It's just more just welcome to the team, and we're
That's great.
happy to have you and stuff like that. So just worry about playing hockey.
Okay, let me. Speaking of playing hockey, here, I got a couple of minutes left with you, and my producer Zach told me this great story about you skating in Stouffville, actually, where I live. I'm gonna bring Zach on to tell you the story because I just loved your line at the end of it. So Zach Phillips, you're on with Mason Marchment. Can you share your Mason Marchment story?
How's it
Yeah.
going, Zach?
How's it going, Mason? Thanks for joining us here today. But it was, I think, 3 years ago in the summer. I was playing in the Stouffville Men's League, and I think you know a bunch of the guys on my team, like Chad Burrows and Alex Gilmore and those guys. I was playing
Oh
with
yeah.
them.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
came out to skate for the other team, and you were just out there to help out. And the whole time, you could kind of tell that you were playing like, I'm not going to be, for lack of better
50%,
words, as I said to Jeff.
25%.
Yeah. You were out there skating, but not like being Mason Marchment. We scored a goal with, I think, 30 seconds left, 40 seconds left in the game to go up. And you line up on the wing. I'm playing right D. You're playing left wing there at center ice. You guys win the draw. They pass it to you right away. You come down on me. You faked inside, stepped outside, and just leaned on your stick, went far side, bar down, top corner, and just turned around and looked at me. And I was like, oh, fuck, like, what am I going to do there? And you just looked at me and went, sorry, bud, and then skated away. And I was like, shit, like, what am I going to do?
Sorry, bud.
The boys on my team were giving it to me and say, "Hey, we can't lose this game if you're out here, bud." So, so I had to get one on you. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's all good. It was fair. It was fair. But I laughed, and I still remembered that. I just remembered you looked back, and you're just like, sorry, bud, skated away.
Yeah.
Like,
I think that was
no
my
worries.
first shot all game. I don't think I took any other shots.
I'm pretty sure it was, yeah.
Zach, that's awesome, Mason. I just love that. Like, sorry, bud, but like I play in the NHL. Like I'm
Yeah.
really good. Like, sorry, like you just have to know at any moment I might just go off. It's funny because when Zach told me that story, Mason, back in like 204 or 205. When your dad was playing with the Maple Leafs, it was during the lockout, and I would talk to your dad all the time, and I was playing in the Scarborough Men's League, and we were talking. He's just like, "Can I come out and play with you guys sometime?" And I'm like, "Brian Marchment wants to come out," and I'm like, yeah, like mushy, like of course, like, and like for a couple of weeks, like I'm like,
Yeah, let's
are
go.
you coming this week? Or he comes like, oh yeah, I wouldn't miss it. Oh yeah, Monday nights, yeah, I'm coming. And it was just like, I was like, this is the coolest thing in the world. Like, again, like he's going like 25%. Like he's just there to stretch the legs. But like, is that something that you like normally do? Or is it like a Marchment thing? Because I remember like, man, and in the room, he was the best guy in the world. Like all of it, Mason.
Yeah, I think that's if there's one thing my dad taught me about hockey and being around the room and around the guys is just to enjoy it and be a good person and help out as much as you can and be positive and that's definitely something I took away from him. But on the shinny part, I think. It's just the love of the game. I just, I love to, get out there and fool around. And, that's
Yeah.
where, I don't have to take it too serious. It's not skill development or anything like that. I'm just going out there to have fun with my friends and, just enjoy it.
Yeah.
So that's all it really is.
I think it's awesome. Let me close on this one. I really have a lot of time for Shane Wright. I think Shane Wright is an exceptional hockey player. You mentioned that you've skated with him previously. Like, what do you see
Yep.
in this guy? Like, to me, he's like right on the cusp of having a big season. Oh, you have quick thought on your new teammate Shane Wright.
For sure. I skated with him at the Biosteel camp,
Okay.
and
Yep.
we were actually line mates for the thing with Cole Perfetti. So I got to play with the two young guys, and they're both great players. Fett's a great player as well, but Shane is very smart, good draws. He's definitely growing, and quicker than maybe some people thought. But we never really got to play them too much this year. So it's really hard to say what he's like in the NHL level because I haven't got to play against him too much. But from what I can see, he's developing very well, and I hope he can turn into what he believes he can be.
Last question. This is for the Oilers fans in our crowd here. That was man. We look at the Stanley Cup final, and man, Florida's just a machine. But your
Yep.
experience of playing against, because I know a lot of people in Edmonton right now are like, oh, trade everybody, don't bring this guy back, and all this. And keep reminding people, like, after they lost like the first two games against LA, like they went on a 13-2 run here. Do you have
Yeah.
a thought on like what it's like playing against the Edmonton Oilers?
Their fans are awesome. It's probably one of the loudest rinks I've been in playoffs, especially before the games. It's electric.
Mm.
But I don't know where you want me to go with this question. Like, how do I?
Like that, like again, like I think like a lot of fans right now are sort of underselling like just how good Edmonton is. Like
Yep.
this idea, they're obviously, I mean, back-to-back Stanley Cup final appearances. Like, what stands out to you about playing against the Edmonton Oilers? I mean, obviously it's Connor and Leon, but anything
Yeah.
else jump to mind for you?
It seems like they got a good group and they all stick together. They all enjoy each other's company. From the outside looking in, it seems like that. I actually have quite a bit of buddies on that team too. So,
Hmm.
there's a lot of good people in that room, and I think it's hard. Florida, they're the line that everyone's got to get to right now. So,
Hmm.
they play the right way, and they're a hard team to beat. They got really everything that you could ask for in a team. And for Edmonton, it's just sometimes the bounces go your way, sometimes they don't. Like in our series versus them, we weren't really getting any bounces. Sometimes they go in, sometimes they don't. So there
Yeah.
was games where I felt we definitely should have won and we didn't win. So it's just the bounces and the ups and downs of playoffs. So if I'm an Oilers fan, I wouldn't be freaking out too much. You got the back-to-back Stanley Cup finals, so just
Yeah.
enjoy the ride, right?
That's hard, man. Listen,
Yeah,
congratulations. I know you're going to do great in Seattle, and I know they're going to love you. Enjoy your
I
summer, and
appreciate
we'll
that.
catch up next year. You be well, Mason. Thanks, pal.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Much appreciated. There he is, Mason Marchment of the Seattle Kraken. And nice story there, Zachary. I remember his dad calling me up. It was just like a random Monday. He's like, "Are you skating anywhere?" I'm like, "Yeah, Brian. Why?" He's like, "Can I come?" Like, dude, I play like really bad men's. I don't care. Got my bag in the pickup truck and I'm going.
Yeah, just wants to play. Just wants to play
Wants to
hockey.
play. Just
Yeah,
wants to play.
yeah. It was funny. It was just like you knew the whole time he just wasn't like going. We had it. We
No.
had Ty Dellandrea come out and play with us one time. He was on our team.
Yeah, he skates Stouffville
Uh,
all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. And he was like doing the same. And then it was just like one shift. I think we were down and it was late. And it was kind of a similar thing. He just like got the puck on the half wall, stepped out, and just ripped. And nobody says anything, but you could kind of tell it was like, okay, I'm going to
Yeah.
do something now. And then just keep it going. And you could tell he was doing that. And then it's kind of funny him saying, yeah, my buddies were giving it to me. For sure they were. Because I've done that. And we've done that to our guys when they've come out and played. We're like, hey, like, you want to get going here now? We brought you out. Come on.
Hey, Robert Thomas, like, come on, man, like, come on, we need like three snipes here. We're down a couple of pucks. It is, I was telling the story the other day. I can't remember if it was here or one of our other Nation Network shows. Just playing like a random Sunday night game with a bunch of buddies of mine that all played. They either played like in the East Coast League, they played professionally in Europe, like good hockey. And Pete Sarno was on the other team. It was a game at McCormick Arena called Game 7 at 7. So it was Sunday night, 7 o'clock. And the guys all treated it like it was Game 7. Full contact. I'm surprised that I didn't get like maimed in this. It was
kidding.
ridiculous. Oh, no. I think Mike Camilleri came out for a couple of them too. I'm like, holy jeez. But we were playing, and this one team had Pete Sarno on the team. For those of you who don't know, Pete Sarno was an excellent American Hockey League player. Like, excellent. Like, lead the league. I think he led the league in scoring twice when he was with Manitoba. And then he played in Syracuse with the Crunch with, like, Mark Hardigan, Joe Motzko, like, really, really good American League players. And, like, no one could touch him in our game. Like, nobody could touch him. No one could lift up a stick. No one can get the puck. He did whatever he wanted. And I'm sitting there on the bench, and I'm watching Pete Sarno, and I'm like, it's like the most amazing guy I've ever been on the ice with. And he's not close to playing in the NHL. He's not playing. He's not going to play in the NHL. And this guy is phenomenal. Like, we take for granted just how amazing these guys are. Like, I always say, like, pick player number 750 in the NHL. The guy that we all said, that guy can't play. You know how good that guy is? You have any idea how great a player that guy is? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you get to the NHL, like, I'm sorry, you are a really, really good player. Couple of things to go over. Oh, by the way, speaking of the Philadelphia Flyers earlier, and we're going to be joined by Dave Pagnotta here in a couple of moments from fourth period. What time is Dave scheduled to come on, by the way?
3:30.
Okay, so we got a couple minutes here.
Yeah.
So Maxim Shalinov is a KHL player, a little bit small but highly skilled. There were rumors all over the weekend about him being either close to or have already signed a deal with the Philadelphia Flyers. Not true. I'm not saying that he's not going to sign with the Philadelphia Flyers. I think that's one of the teams that are interested in Shalinov, but hasn't happened. Not true. Checking from both sides of this thing. So that has not happened yet. Something else we should probably go over with Dave is what's happening with the Buffalo Sabres and a couple of players. JJ Peterka we've talked a lot about. But we should also throw Mattias Samuelsson into that conversation as well. Like, Zach, I can't tell you how many people that I've talked to this weekend who have said to me, are the Buffalo Sabres buying out Samuelsson? And I'm like, I know they might look to trade him, but first of all, like, that's a long buyout for someone like Mattias Samuelsson. So I want to get on that page with Dave in a couple of moments here, because that's an interesting one. That situation as the Buffalo Sabres look to sort of redo themselves as much as they can in the offseason, and also trade this weekend between Seattle and Chicago. So Andre Burakovsky goes from the Kraken to the Chicago Blackhawks in exchange for Joe Veleno. The interesting thing about this one, and I thought about this when it happened, I wondered, like, these two might have been buyout candidates for their team. Now, Joe Veleno might still be a buyout candidate for Seattle, since he's of the age under 26, where he would only be a 1/3 buyout for the Kraken. So if you're watching us on YouTube, like, there's a trade. It's Veleno for Burakovsky. Burakovsky had sort of slid his way down the lineup, at times on the fourth line, coming off, winning a Stanley Cup with the Colorado Avalanche. Has 2 years remaining at $5.5 million. Joe Veleno, 1 year at $2.275. Still might be a buyout candidate. But the first thing I thought about with this one, Zach, is these are two guys that may have staved off a buyout. We'll see. From both these two teams. It was almost like it was the, I'm trying to think of one of the more famous ones, Montreal-Dallas, Mike Ribeiro for Yanni Niinema trade. Look, we're not getting anything with this guy. You're not getting anything with that guy. Let's do the complete change of scenery trade and see if it works out for both. Because I'll tell you, man, the Veleno thing freaks me out. I'll just be blunt. He was the first player ever granted exceptional status in the QMJHL. He can skate. He's got size. He's got skill. Like, I know that he didn't always. It seemed like he didn't always mix well or feel comfortable around a lot of Detroit Red Wings veterans. But still, the Veleno thing baffles me. I don't know why it hasn't been able to happen for Joe Veleno anywhere. And now here he is with Seattle, and we'll see if he sticks or if he still gets bought out. But the Veleno thing is baffling to me. And that draft, that was the Dallas draft, the Rasmus Dahlin draft. Detroit had 2 picks, right? They had Philip Zadina and Joe Veleno. Zadina's not even in the league anymore. And here's Veleno. We're warning about the 1/3 buyouts. That wasn't Yzerman, for all the Yzerman haters, by the way. I think that was Ken Holland's last draft with Detroit. Anyhow, you have a thought on that deal?
Well, I was pretty surprised when it went down, and then I talked to people smarter than me, i.e. a phone call and a text to Jeff Marek, and then it was explained. Maybe this is a situation that they're both getting bought out, and I went, yeah, that would actually makes sense. Way more sense than what I was thinking, because I was like, why? Is somebody here seeing something that the other side isn't, or that we are not seeing? But I think that's probably much more likely. The Joe Veleno stuff is interesting. I always thought
good player,
about,
man. good player.
Yeah, it just never really has been able to figure it out and never catches on. And every time it feels like he starts to heat up, something happens, or you're like, oh, he's got a good stretch, and then it falls off, or I don't know. It's just a weird one, but change of scenery, maybe.
I hope,
new
honestly,
spot.
whoever can, because the skills are still there, the size is still there, the feet is still there. Like, if anyone can unlock the potential that is, I believe, is still in there with Joe Veleno. Maybe just so biased because I watched him so much, but I just can't believe that it hasn't happened for him at the NHL level. And I keep saying to myself, like, what am I missing here? What am I missing watching Joe Veleno that maybe everybody else sees, and I'm just too much of a dope that I just don't see it? But to me, like, all the things that go into making a good player, I look at Joe Veleno and I go, like, this guy should be better. This guy should be good. Speaking of buyouts, TJ Brody bought out by the Chicago Blackhawks. First year on the buyout, $3.23. Second year, $258,000 there. And again, going back to it seemed like they were great like a couple of years ago. Like, it was like, wasn't it like 5 minutes ago the best pair in the NHL? Like, the best duo in the NHL was Mark Giordano and TJ Brody? 5 years ago.
That was weird too, because look, I watched it very, very closely, obviously. Like, I'm watching every single Leafs game. You could visibly see it starting to just fall apart. And, fall apart. It was just legs. Like, legs started to go. Brain was there. Stick skills were there. Passing was there. Legs started to fall off for TJ Brody. And then that was, like, overnight, all of a sudden it was gone. And next thing you know, the Leafs were moving him down the lineup. He goes to Chicago, and all of a sudden we're seeing this year in the middle of the season, his minutes gone. Yeah. And I believe that there was a stretch where they were just healthy scratching him. Couldn't even get in. Yeah, I don't.
Yep.
That was fast though.
Also over the weekend, yesterday specifically, Rocky Thompson named head coach with Bridgeport, the New York Islanders AHL affiliate. I think Thompson had been up for the Edmonton Oil Kings head coaching position in the Western League, and I think Iowa as well in the American Hockey League. He lands with Bridgeport of the AHL. Also, you saw many of you did the St. Louis Blues tweet from this morning. Can you fire that one up?
Yes, I can.
So, I think we all first of all, congratulations to the Boston Bruin, the Yellow Bee returns for their big logo reveal, and it sounds very much like it's going to be something similar, if not identical, with the St. Louis Blues, with the little teaser tweet coming out this morning about the Blues. So the one thing that I wonder about here, because it looks like the blue note itself on the St. Louis Blues uniform, there we go, June 24th, 9 a.m. So they're going to do something with the logo. I wonder if they do something with the colors. And if they do, I wonder if it's because of Alex Steen. Alex Steen, who is poised to take over as general manager, not next year, but the following year. As Doug Armstrong has his succession program laid out. He's always maintained that the baby blue St. Louis uniforms were the best ever. Always loved them. So I wonder if they're going to go that direction as well. And if so, how much of it is because of Alex Steen? He always felt the baby blues were the nicest. I don't argue with him on that either. I thought those were gorgeous. Gorgeous unis. So anyhow, look for the blue note to change with your St. Louis Blues. And your buddy Robert Thomas going to get a new logo next year.
I like those ones. They're and also that tweet that they put out later in the day, it said can't move forward without looking back. And then they had the old logos, and then they said what's next and blacked out, and I wouldn't be surprised there as well.
So tomorrow when we hit the air, let me know when Dave is standing by. Tomorrow when we hit the air.
He's ready.
Oh, is he? Okay, so I was going to blast off about Lauren Chabot in the Hockey Hall of Fame. But instead of boring people with a goaltender from the 20s, we're going to talk to someone who talks about things that are a little bit more relevant than that. Although I can still talk about Lauren Chabot and probably will until, I'm at the crematorium, but here I go. In the meantime, this segment of presentation of Budweiser. Budweiser is encouraging buds to make time for hockey, not excuses. Every goal, every check, every win is better enjoyed with your buds. Phone a bud, text a bud, ping a bud, and call out their excuses for bailing on hockey. When it's hockey time, it's go time. And it's time to go to Dave Pagnotta of the fourth period, who joins us right now, and we can have a lengthy conversation about the Hall of Fame merits of Lauren Chabot, or we could talk about the Trevor Zegras trade. Up to you.
I'll lean with the Zegras one, if you don't mind.
Don't mind at all.
Yeah, I mean, look, that things started to pick up over the weekend, and
yeah,
I don't think too many people thought maybe it was going to start getting or actually get going today.
Mm-hmm.
When things kind of got finalized this morning between Philly and the Ducks. But look, it's not a trade deadline. It's not a free agency draft period without Trevor Zegras' name being tossed around. They finally, just pulled the trigger on this one. The Ducks had held off for some time. Obviously, his name had been out there, as I mentioned, for quite some time. But they held off. They wanted a bigger return. And they just felt at this point it's better to just rip the Band-Aid off and get this over with, give him a clean sheet somewhere else. Mm-hmm. And for them, they get to move on and focus on other elements of their roster that they're going to continue to look to fine-tune.
So a couple of things on this one. I was mentioning earlier that, listen, we've heard the name Trevor Zegras in the Philadelphia Flyers, essentially going back to when, his buddy Jamie Drysdale was traded from Anaheim to Philadelphia in the Cutter Gauthier deal. The one thing that I wonder about from Anaheim's point of view, when the Chris Kreider deal was done, I think we all wondered, okay, so what is this going to mean for Trevor Zegras, and how much further down the lineup is he going to get pushed? And then from the Philadelphia Flyers point of view, one of the texts that I got right away when the deal became obvious that it was going to happen. Someone said to me, was it always John Tortorella that tried to stop something like this from happening? Because as you've pointed out, Dave, the name's been out there with Philadelphia for the longest time, right? It's almost as long as like Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is going to Minnesota for Matthew Dumba. How many times did we chase that one? But, I'm firmly of the belief that Tortorella would have wanted someone like Trevor Zegras or Trevor Zegras himself specifically for that power play. Like they never really had that skill guy on the half wall. Now, unfortunately, it's not John Tortorella and Rocky Thompson that get to enjoy having a skilled player on the half wall in the power play, but it's Rick Tocchet. Like right away, the Flyers power play is the beneficiary of this deal.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is something that Danny Briere had been trying to pull off for, you just mentioned, a few years now. He was on his target list for a while, and he was discussed when they first did the Gauthier deal. They tried to make it a bigger deal, a bigger package, and they're like, all right, we're not going to be able to get to the finish line here. So they get Drysdale as the main piece. But they get to reunite the buddies together with Drysdale and Zegras, having a strong, bond off the ice as well. That'll certainly help in terms of that, getting, Trevor acclimated a little bit easier to Philadelphia. But I agree with you. I don't think this was something that Torts was, putting a stop on. I just think they just couldn't come to terms on something. Now, again, the price tag for Zegras a year ago was higher than the price that Philadelphia paid, right now.
Yeah.
But again, injuries played a factor. He didn't re-engage from an offensive perspective and get back to his level of where he was earlier on in his career when he first jumped into the NHL. All different kind of elements kind of factoring in there. Resulted in the Ducks just, again, saying it's time to move on for both parties. And they get this done in Philadelphia. And there were a number of teams that were in on this, but ultimately Philadelphia was the one that said, no, let's make it happen now.
Do you have a thought on, because I again, like so much of our conversations are going to revolve around, okay, they're opening up space for Mitch Marner. They must be opening up here for Jason Robertson. With the Anaheim Ducks. Do you have a thought on, like, I don't believe that Pat Verbeek makes a move like this without having at least one follow-up move in mind. Like, I don't just look at it and say, well, they made this move because of Kreider. It looks like, okay, they had the Kreider deal, but there's also subsequent moves here for Anaheim because we know, listen, Anaheim's going to be one of the big players this offseason, certainly. Yep. That's pretty obvious by now. you have a thought on what this sort of sets up now for Pat Verbeek?
Well, I think, prior to this move, prior to the Kreider deal, that their plan is to go in heavy on Mitch Marner. To what extent, I'm not exactly sure. And I don't know where Anaheim is with respect to his list. Vegas, it's now widely reported, and accurately so, that Vegas is definitely in the mix, or will be. And they're probably going to be the front runner in this race. LA is also going to very much be in there. He has interest in going to both of those places. The Ducks, Columbus, Utah, Carolina, they're all going to, and others, they're going to get in on this. But where those teams rank with respect to where Mitch is at, I'm not quite sure. But Anaheim, certainly, they're going to take a swing, I believe. And I think they're going to take a few swings at a few other players. Brock Besser's out there. He'll be a UFA. Nick Ehlers as well. It's not a deep free agent pool, but I can certainly see them trying to get into the mix, not only by adding more firepower, up front, but also, Jeff, looking at the decor, could they enter the Aaron Ekblad, race as well, and see, because he's looking to go to July 1 by all accounts, unless there's a huge change from his side. So I think without question, Anaheim, Pat Verbeek and company over there are looking at this offseason as an opportunity to make additional changes, not just a couple, Kreider move, Zegras move, a couple. Okay, we checked a couple boxes. Let's call it a summer. They're going to be active, and they're also going to continue to explore the trade market as well to see what other assets may be available to them if they do miss out on some of the free agents that are going to be out there.
Just as an aside on Ekblad, I really do wonder about Utah with Aaron Ekblad. That's another team that's going to make big right hand shot, first pairing guy. That would make a lot of sense, I think, to a lot of people here. One more thing on Anaheim. It's kind of an obvious put the ball on the tee for Dave here question, but when it comes to, as far as recruiting goes, and as far as getting players to waive no trades, the presence of Joel Quenneville makes it a lot easier for players. No offense to Cronin before, but having Quenneville there makes it a lot more palatable and easier for players to waive their no trade. True or false?
True. Yeah, it's a combo now, because now this team is they're taking the next steps in their evolution. Going through the rebuild, getting the young kids that are in there that are going to be key pieces of that core that have experience under their belt, and they're improving. Now you add an experienced coach in Joel Quenneville, and it changes the dynamic a little bit for the better, for their ability to bring in players, either to waive no trades or no moves, or to bring in the free agents. Because now, everybody wants to win, right? Everybody wants an opportunity to win, and if you can do it consistently, if there's a long runway there with the right pieces in place, including the guy behind the bench, then that makes it that much more appealing to join. When you're a bottom feeder, nobody wants to be part of that, regardless of the market, regardless of what the tax bracket is. If you're winning, these markets, these teams, they're appealing. And to have a guy like Q behind the bench, that's obviously been there, done that's an added bonus for teams or for players that are considering the Ducks.
I would think Anaheim would be interested in John Tavares as well. I don't think that's much of a secret. At this point, any you've written about the Toronto Maple Leaf Center. Is there a latest? Is my question.
As of this whatever we are this afternoon, not yet. But there is a lot of work that needs to be done. If the Toronto Maple Leafs want to get John Tavares signed and staying in that group, it's going to take a significant bump in the dollars. What I had heard over the weekend was a 3-year offer was presented under $4 million per year, and that's definitely not going to be able to get that done. He's going to cash in. Is he willing to take less to stay in Toronto than he would on the open market? I believe so, but the number's got to bump up quite a bit here in order for that to happen, especially on a 3-year term. So, are there going to be teams out there that are willing to give him 7+? I believe there is, or there are, and he's got to navigate what direction he wants to go. But first and foremost, that number from Toronto side of things is going to have to go up. I heard they're pretty far off on Matthew Nyes as well. And they're starting to look at they'll get Nyes locked in, but with respect to some of the other free agents that are out there, they're starting to compile a target list of who to go after in the event that they do lose out on some of their guys, including Tavares and some of their depth pieces. Like, Steve Lorentz is also a UFA this summer. He was a solid depth piece for them in their bottom six.
One final thought on John Tavares here. I thought that Colorado did his camp a real solid with the Brock Nelson deal. Am I being overly simplistic
yes.
on that?
No, I think it's an easy correlator. That kind of number. Look, going back for a while, I was using Joe Pavelski, his deal, his 3-year, $21 million deal from a few years ago with Dallas. That's kind of the benchmark for him. And I thought, okay, well, maybe, times have changed a little bit. He's willing to stay. Could it be in the sixes? And anything lower would be a sweetheart of a deal. I think Toronto would sign up for something in that 5 range. But clearly, it's a negotiation, so they're going through the motions right now. And there's still runway. I reached out to his side as well about this, and they said, look, it's not July 1 yet. We still have some time to try to figure things out. But there is admittedly work to be done. So we'll see kind of what happens there on the Tavares front. But yeah, I think you're right. I think Anaheim, I think a number of teams are going to look at him as an option, not just exclusively as a center, because he can slot on the left side as well.
Sure.
But for teams that want depth in their in their top 6, 91 is going to be an option.
Rasmus Andersson and the Calgary Flames. Dallas tried last year, but Calgary kept on winning. Tried on Kadri, tried on Rasmus Andersson, but Calgary was in the playoff mix. Chances of Rasmus Andersson starting the season with Calgary are what, do you think, Dave?
A lot lower than they were a week ago. They had been going back and forth on negotiations, obviously on an extension, and still just haven't been able to get there. And we're seeing other additional reports now that I think both sides have come to terms with the fact that they're going to be parting ways at some point. Craig Conroy's out there saying, I'm not going to spend, I don't have to pull the trigger on it now.
Yep.
Yada, 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 negotiation, whatever. Not going to show all your cards just yet. But I do anticipate a move happening. I think it's going to happen between now and the end of the month. Could it be around draft? Perhaps. We'll see if how itchy everyone's trigger fingers get. But at 4.55, he's got a limited no trade with just 6 teams on his list, no trade list, excuse me. So there's a lot of flexibility from their side of things. Columbus is another team to look at. Carolina, I believe, as well, and the Ottawa Senators. But I do think there are going to be a few other teams that are looking at that right-handed option. And if teams don't pounce now, they may wait to see what happens with, say, an Aaron Ekblad, who's also a right shot guy. If he is available July 1, some teams may wait. Other teams may not want to wait and may try to pull the trigger here from Calgary's side.
Of all the names we hear on the Buffalo Sabres, and we're going to throw Mattias Samuelsson's name in that mix very much now. I've been mentioning for a while that internally the team believes their defense is too young, and they need more veteran guys back there. I wonder if that comes from Lindy Ruff specifically, but I digress. Byram, Peterka, Samuelsson, maybe someone I'm missing here, Dave. Who's the most interesting name to you?
Well, Peterka is certainly the one that's been generating the most interest now, because there was the belief around the league that he didn't want to stay there, that he wants to change, and then that belief has been amplified and reinforced over the last little bit to be true. And I think there is a lot of frustration with a lot of players there that wouldn't mind that type of change, but you can't get rid of everybody. So they've got to kind of pick their battles in terms of who they want to move out. They don't want to trade J.J. Peterka, but it's not to say that they're being handcuffed, but just the writing is on the wall, and they're trying to see what the best package is available for him. Now, whether it's him, whether it's Bowen Byram, some teams continue to poke around on Alex Tuch. And I can tell you, I wrote about it over the weekend, that they haven't started negotiations yet. I know there's some reports out there, I think. I haven't seen them, but people keep tweeting at me. That they have talked and they have exchanged numbers. I'm told that's not true. But they are going to get to it eventually. It's not a matter of them pushing off contract negotiations because they're trying to trade him. They obviously have a lot of fish to fry, and they want to keep Alex Tuch in the fold unless somebody completely blows them out of the water. But Peterka, Byram, if they do move these guys, or when they do move these guys, because it looks like it's going to happen, it's for immediate help. They're not looking at futures anymore. They want to revamp this roster. To your point on D, They want to bring in some veteran pieces, not just there, but within this roster to insulate some of those younger guys. So if they can pull something off involving both Samuelsson as well, other pieces, then I think that's something that they'll entertain if it again means bringing immediate help. I was told the team poked around and offered a first round pick plus for one of their forwards, but again,
they want players.
At futures.
They want players.
Exactly.
They want players.
Yeah, they can't keep beating this rebuild horse any longer. It's time to make the playoffs. It's time to or get off the pot.
Yeah.
And that's why they brought in Jarmo. That's why they brought in Eric Stahl as well to help insulate the management as much as they need to insulate the roster.
With Peterka, one final thing, like that's not that it should matter, and we saw this before with Zemgus Girgensons. That's Terry Pagula's favorite player on the team. He loves JJ, but not that you just like keep the. I mean, you have to keep the owner happy, but not at the expense of hockey operations. But man, it's just like another sort of wrinkle into all. Like I'm just told that Pagula loves this guy. Loves him.
Which makes sense as to why they've been so adamantly reluctant up until recently.
Totally.
To not wanting to move him, but push comes to shove, and I don't know how in depth the conversations have been with Alan Walsh, his agent. But if Alan has a good way of making sure things go his way when needed, and we'll see how much of an influence this has on these trade talks.
Close on this one. I just got a text saying, ask Dave if he's heard anything on Jordan Kyrou of the St. Louis Blues. They're going to change their logo tomorrow, Dave. Are they going to change it forward too?
Well, Kyrou's name, and I know his no move kicks in July 1. Kyrou's name popped up towards the later part of the trade season, mid-season, end of February, beginning of March, leading up to the trade deadline. There was a little bit of talk also last summer with respect to when St. Louis was kind of poking around on Mitch Marner back then. His name had popped up. Obviously, that didn't get anywhere, but his name has popped up on occasion. I mean, if St. Louis is gonna pull something off, whether it's with Armstrong / Steen that are kind of directing that, it's going to take one hell of a package for them to make something like that happen. The one thing that I had heard, and I haven't validated it yet, but it started to make the rounds a little bit, was St. Louis is poking around a little bit on Noah Dobson. I wonder if maybe that's an area with the Islanders looking at offense, that maybe that's somewhere to at least start a discussion. I don't know definitively if that's happened or not. But I wouldn't be surprised over this next week to see his name out there. I wouldn't be surprised if I get asked more about him. But it's going to take one heck of a deal in order for St. Louis to pull the trigger on something like that, because they're also looking to remain competitive, and he's a big part of their top six.
Absolutely. Okay, listen, great stuff. You can drive again now, by the way. Thanks for pulling over and keeping everybody safe on the road. You're the best, Dave. Always appreciate it, pal. Be well.
You got it, buddy. Take it easy.
There he is, Dave Pagnotta from the Fourth Period, regular all across our various programs here on the Nation Network. Any thoughts on any of that, Zach? Anything sort of spicy or chilly from what Dave dropped on us there?
I was not really aware that Kyrou's name was being floated out there. I did see stuff recently here with Dobson and somebody I think you might have worked with or crossed paths with.
Elliot. Elliot. Yeah. Elliot of the Toronto Freedmans. Dobson's name is an interesting one. There were teams this year that tried to trade for him, sensing maybe some friction. Who knows? But listen. The Islanders are going to be a fascinating team. I think not just all week, but all summer. There's a new general manager. Right? Like, we don't know how Matthew Darche is going to operate here. I think that they have a player in Isaiah George that's ready to be a full-timer on that blue line. And they're going to draft Matthew Schaefer. Right? Like, there's like someone is going, like, that's why I wonder about Romanov. Could he end up a casualty here through all of it? And it doesn't seem so right now. Like, I don't know that Matthew Schaefer walks into that lineup next year. Matthew Schaefer's wildly skilled. So good. Didn't play a whole lot last year. I wonder if, Matthew Schaefer ends up going back for one more year and then joins the NHL. But then, outside of Owen Power, generally, if you're a first overall pick, you go right in. Even if it's not the right decision, and sometimes it's not, but something eventually here has to give on this Islanders back end when you consider two things. Isaiah George is ready, and the team's going to draft Matthew Schaefer. So something here has to give. Don't know what it is. And then as everybody wonders about Jean-Gabriel Pagnotta, I look at that and I say to myself, in case they got Cal Ritchie in the Brock Nelson deal, and I don't know that they're comfortable jumping him in the NHL right away. This one very much feels like they're going to leave Pagnotta and not move him. They're going to start Cal Ritchie in the American League with Rocky Thompson and Bridgeport, and get him 20 or 25 games. Then when he's ready, they pull the trigger on the Pagnotta deal and bring in Cal Ritchie. Again, if I was Matthew Darche, that's what I would be looking at doing. Again, I'm talking like someone. I'm in the back seat. I don't have any hand on the wheel. I'm just saying, well, here's what I would do if I was Matthew Darche.
Do you think there's any chance that the Islanders try to make something happen here in the first round?
Yes. Yes. To try to get Schaefer and Higgins?
We know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. 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 What's it going to take to get there? It's probably going to take a lot, and some things have to sort of break in a certain way for the Islanders to make that happen. Like, I think that it would have to be one of those. I think it'd be a situation where, if James Higgins really falls and Brady Martin's already gone, can you do a deal with Boston or Philadelphia? Like, we're going to talk more about the draft coming up all week long, and we have our draft watch along coming up Friday at 7 o'clock Eastern with me and Pierre Maguire, and a slew of guests that are going to be dropping in all program long. But you're going to hear some, this is the week of trickery and deception and look over here, not over there. And, it's not lying. It's creative truthing. Like, you're going to hear a lot of, it's a week of BS, and everybody knows it because everyone tries to throw everybody else off whatever scent that they have. But there's already some interesting stuff. Like, all of a sudden, Brady Martin the last few weeks has been a major story, and his ascension up the draft lists has been major and legit. And he may go as high as number 4 to Utah if they keep that pick. I think what a lot of people are wondering about is, where is Caleb Desnoyers in all of this? Center for the Moncton Wildcats. How does he factor in to all of this? He's not flashy. He's a really good player. Like, if you have a 1C, he's your complimentary 2C on a really, really good team. How high up does that get? Can he go 3? Does he go 4? And what does that mean for other players that subsequently fall? Again, we're going to go through all of this over the course of this week. Today, I wanted to focus on Mason Marchment and some of the trade talk that's been around, because there's going to be more of it. And let's not forget, too, and listen, maybe our friends at FanDuel have odds on this one. I don't know where they're at. But we have Hall of Fame tomorrow as well. And every year, I'm just telling you, Zach, get used to it. Because you will hear me every year make the case for Lauren Shabbat. And as I've been told before by people on the committee, Jeff, nobody here who's voting ever saw Lauren Shabbat play.
Yeah, I didn't even know. I had no idea what
Lauren Shabbat. When you look at all the goalies that are in his demo who are contemporaries of him, he has better numbers than a lot, if not all of them. That includes Hainsworth and Warders and Thompson and Gardner. All these guys that are in the Hockey Hall of Fame, all these goaltenders. He's got better numbers than all of them. Plus, he's got a couple of Allen Cups as well. Here I go. Get me all wound up on him. Was the first hockey player in the NHL to be on the cover of Time magazine. Not that means everything, but still, it's a kind of a big deal. Anyhow.
What else is on this resume? I want to hear more about
Oh,
this.
you want more? 2-time Stanley Cup, Vezina
Yeah.
Trophy in 35, All-Star in 1935, Allen Cup in 28 and 35, 11-year career, 72 shutouts.
That's
Better
all
numbers than
right.
George Hainsworth, Alec Connell, Roy Shrimp Orders, Tiny Thompson, Charlie Gardner. Left off. And when they asked him to change his name to get more Jewish people to come to hockey games, they wanted him to change his name to Lauren Shabatsky. Said no, I'm not changing my name. I'm Lauren Shabbat, not Shabatsky. Used to do that
Nice.
to players back then. Get them to change their name to appeal to certain demographics.
That's wild. That's nuts.
Things the league did, but just happened.
Huh.
What else do we have on Lauren Shabbat? By the way, like the tap in, like the one major tap in is Zdeno Chara gets in tomorrow, and probably Joe Thornton, right?
Yeah,
Paul,
I believe
Paul
so.
Paduti's got a great piece at dailyfaceoff.com where, and again, everybody will always, I shouldn't say everybody, a lot of people make the case for Alex McGillney, who should be in there. Paduti has this tier of candidates. First ballot worthy, Joe Thornton, Zdeno Chara, Duncan Keith. Any complaints with any of that? No. I'd throw Jennifer Botterill in there as well. She's overdue. Carey Price is going to get in eventually. Ryan Getzlaf probably will as well. And Alex McGillney probably should eventually here. It was funny. I was doing an event with Rick Five the other day. I said, RV, who's the best? And Rick was on the ice with like Mario and Wayne. Who's the best player you were ever on the ice with? Ever. Alex McGillney.
Yeah, I was there for that. Just
Oh,
quietly
yeah.
sitting
That's right.
watching.
You pop by. Yeah. Did you hear him talk about Alex McGillney?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Ask anyone who played against him, played with him, just how talented that guy was. I remember every year with the Maple Leafs, because normally like, you always sort of tip your team services guy. He gave it was Dave Griffiths, I think, gave him like $100,000 in his suits because he didn't want to take them back to Russia. She's like, take my suits. He was like, Almo just gave me like $100,000 in suits. I don't want to take them back to Russia. Like, that's actually a great score, man.
Yeah,
That's
that was
great.
pretty sick.
Keep the cash in your jeans. I'll take all those suits.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. All right, so let's see what you have come up with today for this segment to conclude the broadcast. The sheet is powered by FanDuel, home of the same game parlay. Make every moment more on FanDuel. FanDuel, proud to connect fans to the major sports moments that matter to them. Zach? By the way,
So
great
they
job
did-
job telling that story to Mason Marchment today. I think he enjoyed that.
Thank you. I hope so. It was a funny moment. Like there was no reason for him to be sorry about it at all. I thought it was hilarious. I also, by the way, remember our goalie says to us after, because we obviously just blew the lead that we had with 30 seconds left in the game, and he's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, boys." One of the guys on our team just goes, "Dude, no one saw the puck. How would you have?" Like nobody saw it. Yeah. So
Tough to
but
stop,
yeah, it's
can't see.
yeah. All right, here you go. They had Hall of Fame odds up on FanDuel.
Oh, they
of who
did,
gets
eh?
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I tried to save it for us to have it for before the Hall of Fame, but I think now that it's so close to the Hall of Fame, they've
Tomorrow-
taken it down.
Oh, okay. Well, so yeah, they're announced tomorrow at 3:00 as the show goes on the air.
Yeah, so don't have that up here right now, but I did find something else, especially coming off this weekend.
Okay.
Edmonton Oilers starting goaltender for next season, Jeff. Game 1,
Okay.
starting goalie. I don't know if you take a look there for Game 1 of 2025-2026. Stuart Skinner, favorite, -125.
Wow.
John Gibson, +340. The Field, +390. Jake Allen,
Yeah.
+950. And Calvin Pickard, +1,000.
I'll take the Field, sir, although I'm sure they would be tempted to talk to Jake Allen, and they will. I'll take the Field.
Okay.
Gibson's really expensive. Now, having said that, I do believe that the Oilers are in a situation now where they're prepared and probably have to overpay to get their goaltender. Like, there's been a lot of different times ever since Markstrom said no, even though they thought that they had a deal. Ever since Markstrom ended up going to Calgary for the extra year and not Edmonton, that the Oilers have been offered certain goaltenders. And I can remember Jonas Korpisalo specifically, where they've considered it too much of an overpayment. And so they haven't made the deal. A lot of times, I believe that Ken Holland was presented with certain goaltenders, but the prices were always too high for him and the Edmonton Oilers. I think there's an internal understanding now that Edmonton probably has to overpay and has to be fine with it, and has to be fine with overpaying for a goalie, even though we really forget, because we're always left with the final impression. Stuart Skinner against Florida was not good. No, it wasn't the main story. The main story of the series was Edmonton couldn't score somehow, but Stu Skinner wasn't that good. He was great against Dallas, Vegas. Like, what do you do? Yep. He was excellent. He was great, but there's like a crisis of confidence in the marketplace that they just can't come back with them. I'll take it's a long-winded way of me saying I'll take the field, sir. In that one from our friends at FanDuel. What would you take?
I probably am in the range of the field there as well. John Gibson at plus 340 I don't think is bad either, but the big reason here is like, okay, let's say it's not Jake Allen.
Yeah.
Your other options on this list are Skinner and Pickard, which they already have. And whether rightly or wrongly, I'm kind of crossing them off the list of the guy who starts next year. The only reason being, you almost have to show everybody you've done something different. You know, does that make sense? Like, you are almost like having to say,
I agree.
No, we changed. Even if it's Jake Allen, even if it's John Gibson, or if it's somebody who doesn't end up being your starter game one in the playoffs. It feels like right now there's so much pressure to go into game one of the regular season. Having said, we did something.
I know.
Yeah. So that's kind of where I'm looking at.
It is difficult, though, when you make your decisions based on how popular it's going to be with the fans.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if you what the old saying, like, if you listen to your fans too long, soon you'll be sitting with them. Never want to do it. Where you just like, okay, well, what's going to be the popular move? What's going to be the popular move? What are fans going to like here? Hey, I'm buying a ticket now. I'm sitting with the fans. Listen, Philip Grubauer, it's a name that's out there.
Demko, I saw the boys on, I'm not saying the name's out there, but I saw the boys on Oilers Nation saying that would be a target.
He hasn't played a whole lot of hockey. Right? Like, if Vancouver's going to re-up with Demko, then I wonder about Kevin Lankinen. Like, Shelov's looks amazing in Abbotsford right now. Like, they're in the Calder Cup final. I know that Charlotte keeps staving off here, but, man, Shelov's looks so good. And he's going to need waivers, and that's going to be a problem. I've mentioned Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen before. Devin Levi's 20 games away from needing waivers, unless they're going to go into next season. And they might, and I'm sure the Oilers have had the conversation. I do wonder if you could wiggle UPL away from the Buffalo Sabres. He lost the net last year to James Reimer by the end of the season, and they started to win games. I don't know. Elvis Merzlikins. Like, that's the thing. Like, they don't need, like, an elite goaltender in Edmonton. They don't need Sorokin. They don't.
No.
They don't need Bobrovsky.
My concern would just be, like, you have that. You have your own version of that. Not elite, very good. But then when he's not, he's not. And every guy that you just listed on that.
I know.
Every guy you just listed there
But
has
the thing is,
same
but here's the thing: you're not getting
problem.
you're not getting a perfect goalie.
No.
You're not. You're gonna get someone where it's like, yeah, but well, I guess, or I don't know. But what about this? Like, that's what you're gonna get. You're gonna get someone that comes with some question marks.
I think you just have to try. Oh, watch this real
Okay.
sophisticated, thoughtful answer. You
Okay.
have to find the guy whose low end is higher than the other guys that are out there's low
I
end.
know what you
Because
mean. I
you're
know what you
right,
mean.
you're not
Yeah.
going to find the elite guy. But who's the guy when he bottoms out, it doesn't kill you?
Yep, I get it. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I get it. Who's that guy?
But who's that guy? I don't know. Not a goalie expert. I'll call Hutton later.
You know, had a really good year this year.
Who are we saying?
Michael DiPietro had a really good year with Providence. Yeah, huh?
I haven't heard
Hey,
his
like,
name
do
in a while.
you go and do you look at like, okay, so who was outstanding in the American League this year? Mikey
Or do you call
DiPietro,
Boston?
who was rushed in by the Vancouver Canucks, had that awful game against the San Jose Sharks, and then was just like killed being taxi squad goalie during COVID, and all that development time just vanished.
Yeah, that's right.
Totally got crushed. By COVID taxi squad time. Oh, so bad.
I forgot that was what happened to him.
Yep.
Like, he just got mixed into all that
Yep.
shit.
Yep.
'Cause
Good
even
goalie.
You just saying his name, like, I was like, whoa. I haven't heard that name in a while.
Yeah, finish the show off with a little Mikey DiPietro puck at you. There you go. Deal with that one, Zach. Think about that one tonight, 'cause you can't fall asleep.
Yeah.
Michael DiPietro.
Michael DiPietro.
He's thinking about other girls. I'm thinking about Michael DiPietro, hon. I'm thinking about Michael DiPietro. That's your
Yeah,
relationship. No, my boyfriend's not
pretty
thinking about other
much.
girls. He's thinking about Michael DiPietro. This loser.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, listen. Well-produced show today. Good job. Good job with Mason Marchment. Good job with Dave Pagnotta. Thanks to both those two gentlemen for stopping by. And don't forget, it is our draft watch along on Friday, 7:00 Eastern. Me and Pierre McGuire, along with a slew of guests from various prospects' backgrounds. That's your clue as to what we're going to end up doing here on Friday. Thanks so much for joining me today. Thanks to everybody in the chat. It's always good. By the way, as Colton Davies texted me, it did happen. I wondered this morning if the Kelowna Rockets of the Western Hockey League would make a trade with Moose Jaw for the first overall pick in the import draft, and lo and behold, it happened today. Broken clock is correct twice a day. That's what I bring. Tomorrow, Morning Cup of Hockey will bring the heat with our impact players. That is, of course, Johnny Lazarus and Colby Cohen. DFO live at noon, and our act back again, 3:00 Eastern tomorrow. Wishes on Wednesday, by the way. So we'll do something else tomorrow. He's got like some Hall of Fame thingy he's got to do tomorrow. Big fancy guy from ESPN. So wish on Wednesday, and we'll do something else tomorrow. Maybe we'll do something Hall of Fame related on the program tomorrow. Got it? Thanks for joining us. We are back tomorrow. As you were. As you were. If you enjoyed that video, and we certainly hope that you do, please hit the subscribe button right there here at Daily Faceoff. I will put this lineup up against any hockey lineup anywhere. It all gets underway at 9:00 Eastern with Morning Cup of Hockey. That is Johnny Lazarus. That is Colby Cohen. Then at noon, it's DFO Live. And then 3:00 Eastern, The Sheet. Get caught up on everything in hockey.